Hey everybody, it's Fox with FoxeoGames, and this is a Fox first scent of Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4. When it came out for the PS2, it was also simply called Shadow of the Colossus, and when it came out for the PS3, it was also called Shadow of the Colossus. Although the PS3 version I think is normally packaged with Eco, although I don't know if it always is. That's the version I have. It's the Eco Shadow of the Colossus collection. The remake on the PS3 really wasn't that great. It still suffered from some really bad performance problems and didn't look spectacularly better. Obviously, it looked much better than the PS2 version. PS2 was still an era where I felt like consoles just couldn't do most more realistic looking 3D games very well. I felt like the consoles were best when they had colorful, cartoony 3D games like, you know, the Mario games, the Zelda games and whatnot. But when it came to the more realistic looking games, they just didn't look that great. Now, this time around, when we got Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4, well, I think we got what we were looking for when it comes to both the visuals and the performance, minus the frame rate when it comes to the base PS4. Now, if you're playing this on the PS4 Pro, you're getting 60 FPS, depending on which option you choose. However, on the base PS4, which is what I have, all I get is 30 frames per second. So that sucks, but it does look much, much better than it did on the PlayStation 2, obviously, and even significantly better than it did on the PlayStation 3. So, Shadow of the Colossus, that's it. Just not Shadow of the Colossus remade, not Shadow of the Colossus reworked, not Shadow of the Colossus HD, not Shadow of the Colossus PS4. It's simply called Shadow of the Colossus. It's just the PS4 version. Is a pretty good port of the game. Again, you know, the biggest lament here is that it's not in 60 frames per second, but they did rework the game a little bit. This is not simply an upscale. It looks like they remade a lot of it, so it does look significantly better. You'll see when we get a nice little vista coming up here in about a minute. As we tackle the first Colossus, you can see that this guy looks amazing on the PS4. Would look so much better if I had the PS4 Pro and could see this in 60 frames per second. I've seen videos on YouTube. They look great. I'm very jealous of them, but I'm not, you know, $400 or $300 jealous, however much the PS4 Pro is running for. I'm not going to buy another system just to get, you know, slightly better performance. In the case of 60 FPS, that's nice, but there's only a few games where you really get that kind of marked increase in performance. A couple issues there is that the intro cinematic required that I hold a button to skip it, and that's like every time I boot the game. Kind of weird, definitely weird. I don't know why you have to go through that process of skipping an intro cinematic, but right here, this is what I'm talking about, guys. Take a look at this vista. Would look better in 60 FPS, but hey, even at 30 FPS, that is one beautiful, beautiful scene, I gotta say. You know, breathtaking visuals is a way to put it. The controls are, well, I guess they're better than last time in some ways, I guess. But honestly, the controls still feel a little stiff. They still feel, to me, a little off. I felt like they could have reworked them better. I don't have specific suggestions, but at the same time, when I'm climbing and moving around and jumping, it almost feels like you're giving inputs and the character is then receiving your input and saying, okay, I guess I'll do that. I don't know, it seems to be like a delay. It's a little odd, especially moving around with, what's this horse called? Agra? I'm not even really sure what the dude is saying. I've said it a billion times in the game by hitting that button and hearing him say the name of his horse. I still don't understand what he's saying. I have no idea. So it's obviously some other language's name and I can't understand it. But the controls definitely feel stiff, and then when you're climbing, especially on these beasts, it does seem odd that I don't know, at times it seems like when you're pushing to the side, your character will go up. If you push to the side, your character will go down. If you push up, they'll go to the side. I don't know why it's working out that way. Maybe it's just me and I don't know how to push an analog stick on a gamepad, but it always feels a bit awkward playing a Shadow of the Colossus when it comes to climbing and movement. Something about how they do the movement in this game just makes it feel really, really off and awkward. Even just moving the character around, it's almost like you push in a direction and the character sort of makes this little spin around, almost like you got to make the character do a U-turn in order to just shift a direction. And then, of course, when you're climbing as well, the way they shake, the way they move, it's inconsistent as to when your character will lose grip or get shook around. I'll get it eventually, guys. It's verb conjugation day. here at FoxeoGames. But overall, I gotta say that this is a really good port of the game. Reworked. I think they redid a lot of the graphics. I don't remember all the details when I was reading up on it, but you can definitely tell they put a lot into this. It's not just an upscale of the PS2 or PS3 version. So definitely something to look forward to if you like the original Shadow of the Colossus. Certainly still has a lot of the issues the first game did. It is an interesting game in that there are no, regular enemies. It's just a series of interesting boss fights with a lot of climbing. I'm Fox with FoxeoGames. Let me know what you guys think of Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4, and I'll see you next time.